This is how you turn an idea like this to this, a cute little enamel pin that you can either enjoy yourself or sell in a small business. Hi, my name is Catherine, and I'm an orthodontist, a new mom, and also have a part-time business on Etsy called Busy Bear Collection, where I sell enamel pins, stickers and washi tape, and other cute digital items. I started off my shop at the beginning of 2022 with enamel pins. Today, I'll be showing you a step-by-step tutorial on how you can get started making your own enamel pins in a few easy steps. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Before you start thinking about your actual design, I would recommend thinking about what kind of enamel pin you want to make. There are different types of enamel, including hard enamel and soft enamel. Hard enamel has a smooth, polished finish, while soft enamel pins have a textured, raised metal edge feel. I personally prefer the look of hard enamel because I like how shiny it can be and it just looks cleaner to me overall. I've only ever made hard enamel pins myself, but soft enamel pins can also look very nice. It just depends on what kind of look you're going for. Once you have that figured out, you need to decide what kind of metal plating you want. There are generally 4 different types: silver, gold, rose gold, and black. I chose black plating for my very first pin, which is the Dentist Polar Bear pin. My subsequent pins have all been rose gold plating. I ended up preferring the rose gold plating for a softer look. Of course, now you need to make your design. I personally sketch my designs using Procreate on my iPad, but you can use anything like Illustrator, Photoshop, Paint, or even just pencil and paper. Some key things to keep in mind when designing something like an enamel pin is to keep your line art clean and refrain from adding too many small details. This is because your line art is essentially going to be a stencil for all the colors to be filled into. There needs to be a clear distinction where one color starts and another color ends. There is a technique called screen printing if you do want 2 colors to sit next to each other without a metal line separating them, but that is generally an added cost. If you're just starting out and need to keep costs low, I would recommend starting with a design without any screen printing to keep it simple. You'll also need to keep in mind how many colors there will be in your design. The more colors you use, the costlier the design will be. Again, for your first design, in order to minimize your costs, I would recommend starting with just 2 to 3 colors first. Once you have your design, you need to convert your colors to Pantone colors because that's what manufacturers will use when they make your pin. The best way to do this is actually to have a Pantone book. This can be found on Amazon for $200, which can be a bit pricey, but it could be a good investment if you plan on making a lot of pins in the future. This will give you a more accurate representation of what the colors will look like once they're printed. However, if you don't plan on making a lot of pins or are just trying it out for the first time, here's what I do to get the Pantone colors without the booklet. I export my design as a PNG file and load it into Illustrator. You actually will need an older version of Illustrator for this because apparently they got rid of the Pantone books in the 2025 version. I had to downgrade my Illustrator to the 2024 version using this YouTube tutorial, which I found, and I will link it below. Once you have your design imported, I use the circle shape tool and create a color palette on the side. I use the eyedropper tool to sample each of the colors I'll be using. Then I convert each of these sample colors into the Pantone counterpart. To do this, click on the color you want to convert, and then click Edit, Edit Colors, and Recolor Artwork. Select Color Library, Color Books, and choose Pantone Solid Coated, and the program will convert your color to the closest Pantone color. You can also double-click on here to select another Pantone color if you're unhappy with the one the program selects for you. After you've finalized it, note down the Pantone code. Then create a specifications sheet summarizing the colors you want and also the dimensions for the pin. Note down any special instructions you want. For example, I want the cheeks here to be screen printed, so I made sure to add that in. Now it's time to find a supplier to make your pins. I used Alibaba, which allows you to connect to manufacturers in China. You want to find suppliers who are verified with as many years' experience as possible to avoid any scams. I would start with 3 suppliers and message them. You can ask them what their MOQ or minimum order quantity is, shipping times, and also to give you a quote for the number of pieces you need. You should also ask for samples. They would either ship samples to you or send you videos of samples they have in stock. Once you've vetted your supplier, send them your specifications sheet to finalize the design, make your payment, and now all you have to do is wait for them to be made and shipped. Receiving your pins back is the most exciting part. It's so cool to see the actual product you envisioned actually in your hands. Now it's time for quality control. I usually go through each pin to examine them for any blemishes or misprints. I've been lucky so far, and 99% of the time the pins are fine. Sometimes I would notice there's a tiny speck or blemish in the enamel. I would set those aside as B-grade pins and sell them at a discount. You can communicate any feedback you might have to your supplier so that they can make any necessary changes for the future. Normally, these suppliers keep your mold for a few years, so if you need to place a restock order, you won't have to pay for the mold again. And that's my full process for making my enamel pins from start to finish. I hope you guys found it helpful. If you made it to the end of the video, comment boba down below. And don't forget to subscribe to follow along with our small business and for other cozy content. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!